All right, good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, wherever you're watching from. We are live, 3 p.m. UK time, and we have a t-shirt design review session to crack on with. So I hope you're ready to review some shirts with me. We have about 15 or so shirts, I think, to review. We have quite a few to get through today. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's see who's here. Who do we have in the house? Raymond was the first today. Congratulations, Raymond. Nicholas is here. Benny is here. Philippa and Eddie. Good evening to you, Eddie. Mara, art lover, made it on this time. Great to have you. Glenda is here. Melinda just ordered my book and can't wait to get into it. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, the book you may notice up in the top right today. That is 50% off until tomorrow. So if you want to grab that at the link there, you can do. Okay, Abdusalam is here. Hello to you. Hey to Facebook user. Sorry, I can't see your name. Kathleen from New York is here. Ron is here. Ray is here. Manash, good evening to you, Manash. Dina is here. Good to have you, Dina. The King, Eric Cantona, is in the house. And Irina is here. And Maximus is here too. Greetings to you, Maximus. Great. So, lovely to have you all here as usual. Hope we won't have some of the technical difficulties we hit last week. I will try and keep an eye on my video, and hopefully I'll still be good. But if we don't, I can lose my video. We can just go to the designs and just focus in on those. So I think we'll be fine. Who else do we have? Animatrix Joe is here and wants me to shout out her name or his name. Animatrix Joe, I've shouted your name out. Welcome. Chota Stanley is here. Hello to you. Maxim is here. Razlan is here. Arthur Payne and Lucy and Patsy and Crystal from Canada. Good morning from Canada. Good to have you. I hope it's nice wherever in Canada you are. Personally here, weather update. Actually quite warm, but warm and dry. But it has been getting a bit colder, and it's looking very autumnal where I am today. Armin from Leipzig. Awesome. Good to have you. And Angie is here, and Bo and Adinul Hakim. Good to have you too. And Facebook user from Calgary, Alberta. Sorry, I can't see your name. I think it's because you're commenting in my private Facebook group, which doesn't allow me to see your name on my stream here. Anyway, great. Thank you all for joining us. We have some designs to review today. We have about 15 to review. That's what we're going to do. But before we get into it, do give me a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, and subscribe if you haven't already. That would be wonderful. Today's plan, as I said, is a t-shirt design review. I sent out an email yesterday. If you reply to that email, chances are you're about to see me review your designs. We have some good designs. We have some bad designs. We have some downright ugly designs. We have everything in between. So it should be a useful session today. As usual, you can ask questions throughout as we go. Please do comment, ask questions. I will answer them either as we go, or I'll take them in batches and stuff, depending on how many comments fly in. But yeah, you can ask anything you like. It doesn't have to be about these designs we're looking at. You could ask me about anything related to, well, you can ask me about anything, but you probably get the most use out of asking questions around t-shirt design, prints on demand, art licensing, and those kind of questions. So I think that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, one thing I did want to do before we dive in is 3 big questions. So I've covered this before, but for those who perhaps are joining us for the first time, this is a really helpful framework, I guess, to bear in mind as you're designing t-shirts, and also as we're reviewing them, and just as you're thinking about what designs to create. So the 3 big questions, if you don't already know, they are: number 1, who's going to wear this design? Number 2, why would they want to wear it? And number 3, how are they going to find it? So each of those questions are very important as we design and review t-shirts and we look at them. Who is going to wear it? Who's the market? And we'll see shortly. We have some designs here which don't answer that question very well. Why would they want to wear it? That's the motivation. So why would this person want to wear that shirt? You could have identified a good market, but you've not necessarily given them a good design that they would want to wear. And then how would they find it? That's really a question of, are you able to get your design in front of those people? Or are you playing in very broad areas where it's going to be very high competition and it's going to be hard for you to make sales? So those are the three big questions. I will pull on those as we go through our review and kind of highlight a few things. But my general rule of thumb is, if you can answer these questions and if you can provide an answer to them, then that's good. And the weaker your answers and the more you struggle to answer these questions, that's bad. And that means we need to try and figure out what the problem is and fix it. Okay, a couple more comments come in here. Crystal, winter is coming. Already have some snow in Edmonton, Alberta. Very nice. I think I saw something that snow is predicted quite heavily in the UK this year, but who knows? They always kind of say that stuff. And we haven't had real snow in the UK or certainly in my part of the UK, for a good few years, I think. It's been a long time since we had real heavy, thick snow that lasted for more than a day. Eric is here. Good to see you. Good morning, nameless Facebook user. Good morning, Lance is here. Good to have you. Thaddeus. Fiona is here. And Teddy. Good, great. Okay, thank you all for joining. Facebook user says 3 days snow in Calgary so far. Cool. I don't know if I'm prepared for snow, really. We haven't had it for so long that I did just get a new winter coat, but I'm not sure I'm ready for, like, the kind of snow you guys get over in Canada. Anyway, Esma from Texas, good to have you here. And Angie was looking at the 50% off offer page. There was a testimonial pic showing cheat sheet poster, but couldn't really find any description of it. Yes, Angie, the poster is not included in this particular offer, which is why it's not listed there. But if you do want that, you can buy the book, and then when you log into your members area, so the book comes with a little private members area with a few, which is where the video bonuses are and things like that. You can actually upgrade from there if you want to, and we'll send the book out. But we're not discounting the poster. We'll send the poster out, but we're not discounting the poster package in this offer. This is like a flash sale on the book, and it's just the book only. You can have the paperback or the ebook version, but yeah. Hope that answers that question for you. Kapow right now says, is this where the cool kids hang out? Well, you're here, Kapow, so it absolutely must be. Art Lover Animation says, I live in Utah. Temperature is going to drop this weekend with chance of snow. Cool. And Laura Wickstead says, good morning. Good morning to you. So, all right, without further ado, we've shown the three big questions. Here's our 15 designs that we're going to review today. I will make this a little bit bigger, I think, and let's get into it. First up was this one from Ilka. In fact, I think I've opened these. Yeah, here we go. To try and help my internet connection, I've opened these already. Not sure how well you can see this one. It is a little bit small, but it says, I feel spirited. And we have here a ghost who is also holding a glass of some bubbly alcohol, I think, and a bottle which looks like either beer or wine or something. So yes, that's is it Ilka? Yes, Ilka's design. I feel spirited. So what can we say about this one? I think this is a nice simple pun. Works well, I think. So Ilka posted this over in the new community we have for the Ideas Workshop, and I think what's going on is we actually have like a double pun here. So obviously, I feel spirited means, you feel energetic or lively or something. She's a very spirited individual or spirited personality. That's what that means. So that's one meaning of spirited. And then there's a couple of other meaning. The meanings we're playing on is, spirit meaning a ghost for Halloween, and then spirit as in alcohol. So we've actually got like a triple pun going on here, which can be good, but can also sometimes be a bit confusing. And sometimes simpler works better. Sometimes you're better kind of just stripping and going for one or the other. So you could have done this design with either just a ghost or with just alcohol, and the pun I feel spirited would have worked with both. Now, Ilka's thrown them both together. I think it still does work, and I think it's a funny idea. So yeah, concept-wise, I think it's fine. I think design-wise, I think there's some good things going on. So she's kept it simple. We obviously have very limited color usage going on. This isn't a great picture, by the way. This, I think, is a mock-up or something, so that's why the quality is not great. So the she's kept it limited colors. I think if you're doing a kind of Halloweeny design, if that's kind of your goal, then I think there's more we could have done here, Ilka, to really push that forwards. For example, a more spooky Halloweeny font, because this font doesn't scream Halloween to me or anything like that. And similarly with the illustration, it's kind of, you have got a bit of overlap going on here, which is nice. So you've got your ghost, is overlapping the text, which is always nice to have that. I think, to be honest, I'm kind of being super critical, I think, because it does work and there's nothing really wrong with the design. Personally, I would spend a bit more time on the illustration, perhaps add another color in there to make it really pop a little bit more. With Halloween, it's often black t-shirts. The colors are usually orange for kind of pumpkin stuff, or green, and then those kind of colors, I think, or like blood red and things like that. So I would consider maybe swapping your colors out and doing something that really helps it pop a little bit more color-wise. But concept-wise, I think it's great. You know what? I would just say, go back and just draw this ghost like a couple of different ways. Like, just don't really like say, I want it to look like this. Just like do it in a few different variations, and then I think you'll find that one of those that you do without much pre-planning, just sketch it in a few different styles or something, and you might find that you've got a better style illustration that will just help it really pop. But I think it's a great solid concept, and I think keep it going, keep iterating on it, and I think you'll have something that's really decent. So thank you for that one, Ilka. A couple of comments come in here. Alf says, no snow for me, still in the upper 80s here in Southwest Florida. There's always one, isn't there? That's to ruin it for everybody else. Angie says, cool, thanks for clarifying. No problem. Eileen says, let's hope we don't get the beast from the east again. Yeah, we have a few of those bad stormy type things. Maximus says, good concept, strengthen the image. Yeah, I think that's probably true on that one. Hex says, hi all. Good to have you, Hex. Don't know whether that's the Halloween name. Sometimes people change their name for Halloween and stuff. And Abel says, Carlos Rene Ramirez Jr. I guess he's tagging somebody, but that's fine. Okay, should we get into the next one? Next one is from Julie, and Julie sent this one. So, don't know how well you can see this on your screen. This is, I think, Julie sent a transparent image, which is maybe why. Okay, that's a better way of looking at it. So this one from Julie, as you can see, it says just a square living in a round world, and it's a square and it's overlapping a circle. So I think this is a good example of question number 1 and 2 and 3. I think we have a problem with all of these ones here. So who's going to wear this? Who's going to wear this design? And I can hear already the answers would be like, oh, people who feel like they don't fit in, and people who, I don't know, introverts or things like that. Now, that's fine, but what you're really saying is you're given such a broad, a broad scope, a broad niche or a broad market, that it's going to be very difficult to actually make any sales on something like this. So I think, number one, we don't have a clear market for a design like this. Number two, why would they want to wear it? And that's a really good question for this design. Why would, is it, for example, some of the reasons people wear things, there's practical things like I need a costume for a Halloween party. There's things like I want to make my friends laugh and I like this joke and I identify with it. There's things like I want to identify myself as part of a group or a team or something like that. So there's all kinds of reasons. There's things like it looks nice. So the aesthetic is nice. I like the style of this graphic. And this design doesn't fit with any of those answers. So there is no real reason, I think, that I can identify why someone would want to wear this. So I hope I'm not being too critical, Julie. I'm just trying to give you like the nuts and bolts so you can make progress faster. But yeah, why would anyone want to wear it? the only thing you can say is that they really like the concept or something, but I think it's going to be a really hard sell. I don't see that. I don't see people, searching for anything like this. And I think even if you were able to, I don't know, target someone who searched for something like introvert or misfit t-shirt or something, and they saw this, they wouldn't respond to it because it's not a strong concept. And how are they going to find it? That's again, the problem is, how are they going to find it? What are they going to search for to find this design? So I think that's really, three of the big problems here. So yeah, I think what this says to me is someone who's just starting out. They're maybe just getting used to a graphics program like Photoshop or something. They've learned how to do some basic stuff, but there is no concept here. There's no hook. There's no strong idea. And I think you would be much better kind of trying to first identify a market, a much more discernible market around a subject or a topic or an interest or a trend or whatever it is, and trying to create designs for that, rather than just saying, I don't know how you kind of came up with this idea or whatever, but I don't see how it ties into a market that you can actually target and go after. So hope that helps you, Julie. And in terms of the only thing I could think to kind of take this as a jumping off point would be that usually the phrase we hear is just a square peg in a round hole. And I don't know whether that would make for a better phrase to begin, perhaps brainstorming ideas around. But I think this is, I think I've said enough about it. It's not a strong concept as is. I would go back to the drawing board on that one. Julie, okay. There's a couple of questions or comments here. Abdusalam, flat Earth. I don't think that's what Julie's going for, unless I've missed something. If that is the case, then it's obviously not kind of an obvious joke there. Good day to you and Holloway. Thaddeus says a t-shirt for philosophers. Well, listen, a t-shirt for philosophers. If someone's searching for philosophy t-shirt or t-shirt for philosopher or something, they're not likely to respond to that. There are much more, there's obvious concepts and ideas around philosophy. There's famous philosophical jokes, and there's famous philosophical people, philosophers, I should say. And those are all much better, places to start if you were trying to target philosophers. What's really hard to do is take a concept that you've had and then look for someone who this might appeal to, especially if your concept isn't especially strong, and I feel that's the case with this one. So yeah, but yeah, thanks for your comment anyway, Thaddeus. I'm not dissing it. Sue says, sorry I'm late, no problem. And Holloway says, feels like wall art to me. Melinda says it may be good for a KDP book or a planner, with more emphasis on the phrase than the shapes. Yeah, okay. So it's aesthetically you could make something of it, but I think it's not really working there yet. Maximus says, good idea, but needs to be niched down more and executed in a more readable way. Yeah, absolutely. Like to geometry teachers or something. Yeah, so I guess people are kind of picking up on the square and the shapes and stuff and wondering whether something could be done there. So yeah, all good ideas. It shows that there's lots of directions and places you can take things in. It seems like what we're all doing, perhaps at my prompt, is we're all trying to find out who's going to buy this, who is going to wear it, who are we going to target, which is a good thing to be looking at. But as we'll see with some other designs that we'll get into here, that should be obvious in most cases, especially if you're part of that group. So if someone was creating a design for me, maybe that's a design about, I don't know, one of my favorite bands or a subject I'm interested in, or dinosaurs or something that I like, then that would be, I would get the joke straight away. I would get the reference. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a design that people will get right away, that you don't have to explain. You don't have to walk them through it. Okay. Melinda says your honesty is what we need. Cool. I hope so. I hope we don't upset anyone in the process. Okay. This one from Eddie, I think. All I want for Christmas is more cats. So this is, let's make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. All I want for Christmas is more cats. So here we have we've got a problem with this. I didn't notice this, but you got a spelling issue there, Eddie. This says Christmas, which I don't think he meant to do. All I want for Christmas is more cats, and we've got a few cats here. So, okay, let's talk about concept first, and then we'll talk about the design. So, concept-wise, we have here essentially the concept is a phrase. It's a text-based design with accompanying graphics. And the text, all I want for Christmas is more cats, is very good, very strong concept. It's what I would call a plug-in phrase, a Christmas-based plug-in phrase that can be adapted for many different niches and stuff. And it's a phrase that people recognize and identify with, and they understand it. All I want for Christmas is X. All I want for Christmas is more cats in this case. So good concept. He's used what I would call a proven method, which is a plug-in phrase. He's used a phrase that people are familiar with, and he's altered it and made it specific to a niche. So if we answer our questions, who is going to wear it? Well, clearly we're targeting people who like cats and who have lots of cats, so we get a tick for that one. We have answered that question. Why would they want to wear it? Well, because Christmas is coming up and they would like to have a Christmas t-shirt that, you know, fits them for holiday parties and stuff like that. So we have at least a decent answer for that. And how are they going to find it? That could be an issue. Obviously, it is quite broad. We're talking about cats and cat lovers. That could be a very high competition topic. But at least we know what to go after. It might be high competition, but at least we know who we're targeting. So that's the concept side. I would say concept-wise, we get a couple of ticks there. Questions about how competitive this might be in the marketplace, whether you could do something a bit more, even more specific, maybe around a particular breed of cat or something like that. But concept-wise, I think this is good. Design-wise, we have some serious problems because this does not look like a T-shirt. This looks like, I think someone said, a postcard. And Holloway said postcard. So yes, I agree. We have a couple of problems here. So maybe this is a design for a postcard or whatever. Maybe I'm forgetting that people are also designing other stuff as well. But as a T-shirt, this is not how I would approach designing something like this. I would much prefer to have. There's a couple of design issues, but some of them that jumped out to me are the style of the cats clearly don't match the style of the hats. The cats and the hats don't match. They are different. You know, they look like the hats look like they've been dropped on from instead of drawn all together in one sitting, which I've spoken about before. I much prefer, you know, sitting down, drawing a concept originally all together, not whacking on bits and bobs from different bits of clip art later on. It just looks amateurish. So that's one issue. And then obviously for a T-shirt, you wouldn't have like these bits cutting off at the edges. You would want to have a complete design that, you know, is in a kind of circle shape or something like that. Not this kind of postcardy looking thing. So I hope that helps with that one. Concept is good. Design-wise, not going to work on a shirt, could work on a book or something like that. But I would still personally like to see something a bit more unique. And I get the impression here, Eddie, that what's happened is you haven't drawn this from scratch. You've either drawn a few bits and then popped some other bits on, or you've taken clip art and stuff and thrown it together. I would much prefer, and I think it would do better if you have original illustration, original elements, all original, and perhaps a font that's a little bit more appropriate for a T-shirt, because this doesn't look like a T-shirt design to me. So hope that helps. I think that was Eddie. Yeah, thanks for sending that one in. And a couple of comments here. Mayra, hi from Brazil. Hello to you. And Ron says, looks like an LP cover. Yeah, it does look a bit like that, doesn't it? Like a Christmas album. And Fiona says, cute cats could even niche further to type or color of cat. Yeah, exactly. You could go for, somebody tell me a cat, Siamese or something like that. And you could go even further down the rabbit hole. And Eddie says, that's really helpful. Thanks, Michael. Thank you, Eddie. I'm glad that you got something out of that. Okay, who's next? YT sent this one. I'm always right. So, what can we say about this one? Or what has YT said about this one? Not a lot I can see. Artist notes. Where's the arrow pointing to? Right. This is a great funny quote design. There will always be someone who's in our lives whose favorite phrase is, I'm always right. Yeah, so kind of as I was expecting with this one, we don't have, again, going back to our questions, we don't have a real answer to who is going to wear it. The idea here, I guess, is it's a visual gag. I'm always right. The play on words being right meaning direction versus right meaning correct. So it's a play on words. It's a pun, a visual pun. But just because something's a pun doesn't make it a good, strong pun. It doesn't mean that people are going to respond to it. And I think in this case, that's the problem with this design. It's not, again, we don't have a market or a niche. We don't have cat lovers or something like that. So we just have this broad range of people, and we're just kind of hoping, someone might see it and might like it and might buy it. And there's too many mights in that role. So yeah, concept, I think it's not strong enough to really make design that someone would respond to. And your design is matching the concept, but the concept isn't strong anyway. So there's not a lot you can really do with a concept like that, I don't think, because I think the hook itself isn't actually that strong in the first place. So yes, it's an original idea. I think this is a good lesson that not all ideas, even your original ideas, not all ideas that you think are funny and good, correspond to what people are looking for, what people are going to buy, what people are going to identify with and respond to. And I think this is one of those cases. It's one of those, you have an idea, you think, oh, that's funny, and you create it, but then crickets on the other side. So I think that's the problem with this one, YT. I would just say go back to the drawing board on that one and work on something else, because I think the concept isn't strong enough. And a good place to start would be trying to think about the market, and then the motivations of the market and stuff like that, and leave the ideas like that to one side, at least for now, until you have maybe a following or something like that you can really market stuff to. Okay, Max sent this one in, and Halaban from Indonesia is here. Good to have you here, Halaban. I think this one is Max. Yep, out of play today. So this is a sloth on a hockey stick, and it says, I'm out of play today. So what can we say about this one? Concept-wise, okay, let's answer our questions first. Who's going to wear it? Well, hockey players, of course. Hockey players who like sloths as well, maybe. But yeah, hockey players, sloth lovers, a bit of overlap, but fine. Why would they want to wear it? Well, we kind of have a nice graphic. We have a nice sloth. We have him sleeping on a hockey stick, which is also kind of nice. It's a nice kind of visual tie-in of two things. And it's using, I guess, which is a hockey term, I'm out of play today. And it has that kind of element of, with a lot of sloth-based stuff, I'm tired, I'm lazy, I don't want to do this, that kind of stuff. So there's that element in there as well. So there's a few potential motivation factors. How are they going to find it? Well, yeah, we've got a couple of niches and markets, so we can go after those. So we've got something we can work with. Now, what about the realization of that? I think where would I start with it? It looks a little bit basic, a little bit too basic for my tastes. Your text is just kind of floating above. The hockey stick also is just kind of floating in midair, which is, I understand why you've done that, because it gives the sloth something to sleep on. But it makes me a little bit uncomfortable, because we don't have, it doesn't really make sense. Is the hockey stick fixed to anything, or is it just floating in midair? It seems a bit weird. And the text, I'm out of play today, I think that can work. That's fine. I would suggest a couple of variations on that. Maybe you could do something like out of play all day, or something like that. Or I'm thinking of like things you could rhyme with play, because play is a nice word that has lots of rhyming options. Let me just change my screen here, and we can do a bit of iPad mocking upping. So I mean, if you want to do, we want to do a sloth who's like asleep or something, and but it's got to have a hockey connection. I don't know. Maybe we could do something like a sloth, just kind of he could be asleep. Maybe he could be like sleeping in like the goal or something like that. I don't know if that would make sense. I'm not really a hockey buff, but something like that, and then maybe you could still have, obviously, you could have a hockey stick on the ground here or something just to make it obvious in hockey, but something like out of play all day. I don't know. I think something like that would work as a more tight concept with your text broken up and things like that. I think that would be a potentially nicer kind of concept. But yeah, basically what I'm saying is you could push it a little bit further and go a little bit harder on the concept. Ron says he could be hanging upside down from the hockey stick. Yeah, again, I think we still have this problem of like, where's the hockey stick in space? Is it stuck on the end of something or stuck off the end of a wall? It seems kind of weird. Neil's gone with I'm pucked. Nice. Again, you could use that same concept. So and Mohammed says add Z's. So yeah, you could have a couple of Z's here. I guess we're all kind of circling the same concepts and coming at it from different ways. I think what that shows us is that whose design was this again? Was it Max? I think that Max's concept, or at least his kind of real gem of a concept, his germ of a concept, is decent, but there's lots of ways to attack it, and some of those ways are going to be stronger than how he's done it. And design-wise, we have some issues here. Also, we have the same issue that we had previously, where we've got artwork that isn't matching. So the hockey stick clearly isn't drawn in the same style as the sloth. So we have a few issues. A few issues here going on. A couple of comments on this one. Let's see what we've got. Arthur said crickets. That was a while ago, I think. Lucy says sloth is cute, maybe a better font. Yeah, certainly the font is a bit basic as well. Kushbu says hi, Michael. Hi to you, Kushbu. And Holloway, how about running the words along the shape of the sloth's back? Yeah, again, that would be a nice way to tie in your text and your graphic together to do something. To have this text, curved with the curvature of the sloth's back. Great idea. Ron, nice illustration, weak text. Sloths are usually upside down too. Yeah. Or you can do them like sideways on as well. All played out, says Ron. That's a good other one as well. Imam, hello, Michael. Is that okay if we just only draw animal without funny text or something like that? If you are a particularly strong illustrator, Imam, with a good style, and you can make some kind of hook around the graphic that you're drawing, then yes, you don't need funny text. But that's quite difficult for most people to do. There are ways and approaches to do visual-only designs, and there's frameworks for those, just as there are like text-based frameworks like puns and funny phrases and stuff. But generally, most designers and illustrators, especially when they're starting out, they don't have a style. They don't have their own unique take on things, and that makes it hard to generate sales around that, because if you're just drawing a sloth, there's a lot of sloth designs out there, so you have to really bring something to the table. Okay, and Reza said combine two things together, sports and habits. I guess you're kind of referencing the fact that this is sloth and hockey together, which is fine. You can do that. I think it probably only really works, throwing two random hobbies or interests together is not really a great way to find success, I don't think. I think you're much better off sticking with a particular topic. So, for example, you might go with hockey or you might go with sloths, and then you might find that there's some trend that you could kind of reference. So, for example, I would say this is like a hockey shirt that's borrowing the sloth from the sloth trend kind of thing. I would say sloths would be like a trend, and then you kind of adopt that into hockey. Like if we did a hockey design with a armadillo, for example, there wouldn't be much going on. But because we know sloths and we're kind of familiar with them, there's lots of jokes about them. They kind of have taken on their own kind of trend. That makes sense. But I wouldn't recommend shoving two random things together and expecting that to generate sales. Puck color should be single color. Not sure what that's referring to. Don't see a puck here, unless I've missed something, Raymond. Imam, thank you, sir. No problem. Okay, where are we up to? We got about 25 minutes left. Let's crack on with some of these. Sandra has sent this one in. Sandra, my pets are better than yours. So this one I had to do a bit of research on because I didn't get the reference, but apparently there's a type of fish called betta fish. And obviously that is the pun going on here. My pets are better than yours. So nice pun because we have this this word better. So what can we say about this one? Nice pun, of course, that works. So that's good. That's a good start. I would say, obviously, don't stop with this pun. There are bound to be lots more puns you could do with the use of better. So I don't know, better this than that, or better the devil you know. I don't know. There must be loads of phrases that include the word better. So use that. Don't stop with one. Let's keep it going, especially if you know something about this niche and this market. Design-wise, it looks like you have done an original watercolor or at least a drawing of some kind to create this graphic. And it obviously it's very nice. You're very talented if you've done this yourself. But is it the ideal graphic for a shirt? I would say not necessarily, and especially I don't really like the way this looks on black. I don't know if it looks better on like a white one. Perhaps for the right person. But I would, yeah, I don't know. You know what I would do? I would spend some time kind of researching that kind of market. So whether it's people with aquariums, people who keep tropical fish or something like that, I would go and look at the kind of designs that are selling well there, and I would look at what are the styles that are going on. Do they tend to be very colorful? Do they tend to be very detailed? What kind of fonts are they? How would you describe the style? So that's what you're looking at. Like what is the style that these people really go for? For example, if we go and look at the top selling Halloween shirts, we're probably going to see a lot of, big bold text and bright colors and greens and oranges and blacks. And if we go and look at kids shark t-shirts, we're going to see a lot of blues and dark grays, and we're going to see, text with red blood and stuff like that. So I would just go and look around, what in this kind of space, in that kind of market, not designers, fish lovers, whatever you call it, aquarium junkies, what's doing well there and what kind of styles do they respond to? And I would use that and reference it and use that to inform your decisions. The problems I have with the design are I don't really like the font. It looks a bit amateurish to me. It doesn't really fit with anything that I'm seeing, and you've tied it together in a circle, which is nice. I think I saw someone saying that the coral is maybe because the coral is central. That's not great. I kind of get what they're saying there, but for someone who's into these particular fish, it doesn't matter. You've got the fish there; they know what you're referencing. It's an in-joke, so you don't have to make the fish the central thing. I can understand why people are saying that, and that might be the natural way to go. But I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. I'm just saying that's probably not a critical thing when it comes to if you get this in front of the right people, they're probably not going to look at it and go, oh, I'd really like that shirt, but the coral's in the middle instead of the fish. They're going to go, oh, that's a really nice graphic. I love the pun. It all comes together, and then that's what they're buying into. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think maybe the issue with the design is the font isn't really matching the nice style of the watercolor. Now, me personally, I'd never do an illustration like this with kind of watercolor and stuff for a t-shirt. It's not my style. I don't think it necessarily translates very well, but that's just me. And I think there are people who do get better results with this kind of stuff if they know what they're doing. So I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it's impossible to do this kind of graphic and have it work and make sales. I would just say your font isn't matching, the overall design isn't fitting together very nicely. So go back and have a rethink about that. So hope that helps you there. Who was that one from? Sandra. And let's see, some comments are coming in on this one. Coop Fish. Okay, Angie says, oh, that's very nice. Ron says, plant is distracting. I'd just use the fish. N. Holloway, I like the pun. Strong niche, make the fish the center, not the coral. My daughter has a betta that has survived almost 3 years now. Okay, so it's a particular type of fish, I think. Lucy says, nice colors. Jaberjaw says, that's really pretty. Reza, I'm still kind of confused on the concept. So it's just a pun, Reza. Betta is a particular type of fish. And obviously the phrase is my pets are better than yours. It's a double meaning, so that's just a simple pun. Sue, is that using gradient color? Is that okay on a print shirt? I mean, the results of the customer. Yeah, I kind of just addressed that. It would be better. Well, I like to stay away from gradients and multicolor, watercolor type effect like this. I don't think it's going to print great on a shirt, but t-shirt printers are getting better all the time. So, I would certainly want to test anything like this and see what the quality was like before I really put it out there. But yeah, it could work. Mike says, best and most honest t-shirt guy on YouTube. Oh, thank you. Teddy says, generally speaking, how much are people paying for a designer? I don't really know, Teddy. I don't think there's a kind of set rate. I know with most quality designers, the kind of designers I work with, we're looking at at least $200 for a design, which is why it's of course it all depends on your market, what kind of skills you're looking for, what kind of illustration you're expecting, and things like that. Okay, Bo says, I'm a beta tester. Good one, yeah. I think it's nice. I would just make the words a contrast color and change the font style. Okay, cool. Razlan says, might be better with flat colors. Yeah, I'd like to. I would prefer that way, but again, I'm not wanting to rule it out. N. Holloway says, liked it better on white. You could have said better with an A there, N. Holloway, but I'll let you off. Eileen, I like the fish on white. Yeah, I think it works a little bit better on white. It doesn't appeal very much on a black shirt. I can't see people really responding great to that. John says, better fish are fighting fish. So that's interesting. I didn't know that. Maybe there's something you could do around that one as well. Fish with boxing gloves or something. Anyway, okay, we spent quite a bit of time on that. We got some designs we got to get through. Let's go. Razlan has this one. Gonna clack till I crack. It's a keyboard. So I think I kind of get what's going on here. Who's going to wear it? I think he's maybe going after developers, perhaps, people who are on their keyboards a lot, professional writers or things who spend hours and days behind a keyboard. So I think that kind of works. Why would they want to wear it? Well, because it's a funny saying. We've got a rhyming element. We've got a catchy slogan, a rhyming slogan. So that's good. Going to clack till I crack. How are they going to find it? That's going to be, again, back to who you're going to target. The good thing about this one is it does kind of have multiple applications. It's not just web developers, but of course there's lots of different types of web developers who spend a lot of time behind a keyboard. There's lots of different types of writers. So you could hit a lot of different niches and markets with this phrase. You may want to rework it for certain markets, but at least you've got something that can really work. Design wise, and in fact just kind of phrase wise as well before we talk about the design, gonna clack till I crack. Oh, actually, it says gonna clack till it cracks. So I would prefer some variations. So off the top of my head, I would go with "Gonna clack till I crack." So that would be the voice of the wearer. I'm gonna clack till I crack. And perhaps you could go with clack. What was I going to say there? Clack till it cracks, maybe just like that. Clack till it cracks, something like that. Yeah, anyway, there's a couple of ones. Online Gamers, says Sue, another potential group you could target. But yeah, and design-wise, the problem we have with the design, and Ron's picked up on it as well, don't need text on circle with a rectangle graphic, really. It's not, yeah, there's not, the rectangle graphic is unfortunately not very aesthetically pleasing. It just kind of sits there and it's not very nice to look at. It's not a very pleasing design in that sense. So I think there are different ways you could approach that. For example, if we revisit my iPad for a second here, a couple of different possibilities. You could do something like, you could draw the keyboard, like kind of 3D, like that, or whatever. You could, of course, bring a character in, which would give it a bit more, emotion or something. You could have someone behind the keyboard, or you could have someone with their head on the keyboard, because they've just cracked and they've given up. So I think I would prefer to push it like that instead of just going for this flat graphic, which doesn't carry a lot of emotion and doesn't really say much. Do something that would, make it more visually appealing and give people that extra reason. Because what you might find is someone might see this and go, "Oh, I'm going to clack till I crack," and then they go, "Oh, that's funny. Oh, but the T-shirt's ugly, so I'm not going to buy it." Or you might have even worse than that. You might have come up with this phrase or something, and then other designers will see it and go, "Oh, that's a cool phrase," and then they'll go and take it, and you've left a big open goal because you haven't done a great design, and so other designers can come in and one up you because they're going to do something more engaging and more interesting than just a simple graphic of a keyboard, if that makes sense. So I would definitely go and rethink about how you can push the concept and get some more, better, more appealing graphics going on. But yeah, you've got the beginnings of something there. We've answered most of our questions, all of our questions. So yeah, crack on, Razlan, crack on, literally, with your design. Who's this one from? Raymond. Oh, a couple of comments on Gonna Clack. Fish with no leash. That was Thaddeus bit on the previous design. Razlan, mechanical keyboard enthusiast. Okay, so Razlan's gone really specific on the specific keyboard, which is cool. I mean, everything I just said still applies, but that's great. And maybe there's, because you know what niche you're going after, you'll be able to know what might work even better for them. I think we did these ones. Jabba Joe says, "Gonna clack till it crack" could be spelled on the keyboard. There's a good idea. That's another way to actually kind of to kind of bring together your text and your graphic into one coherent whole. That could be cool. Yeah, great. Okay, Raymond, single red gives some strength. Yeah, at least there's something going on. But again, it's not a lot really. Mohammed says, "Smoke coming out of the keyboard. That could be cool." Clack it till you crack it. Nice. Maybe better. Yeah, I think that's a nicer sounding one. Rolls off the tongue a little bit better. Could include a crack and show some movement in the design. Yeah, absolutely. And John says mechanical keyboards have a huge cult following. So there we go. A decent concept, a decent niche for Razlan to go after. Okay, Raymond has this one. Where was it? Christmas lights. So this is, what does it say? "That had better not be a set of lights I see in your hands." And we have what I think is supposed to be an angry Christmas tree. So I think, without being too mean about it, this is not doing very well on our 3 questions. Who's going to wear it? I don't know. Honestly, don't really know who's going to wear this design. I mean, I get the kind of concept. It's like a Christmas tree's angry. He doesn't want to be dressed up in lights. But there is no real obvious at least to me, real obvious group that's going to really respond strongly to that. Why would they want to wear it? Again, with a design like this, it's almost like a cartoon on a t-shirt, if that makes sense. It's kind of like a little scene on a t-shirt. It's not, it's not something the wearer would say. It's not something, it's not associating with them with a particular group or something. It's just like a joke, like a cartoon you might see in a newspaper or a magazine, just whacked on a product or something. So I think that's another problem here. There's no real reason I can see, unless the joke is especially hilarious, why they'd want to wear that on a shirt. And I don't think this joke is. And then how they're going to find it again? We got some issues there. So yeah, I think on this one I'd go back to the drawing board, Ray. I don't think it's a strong enough concept. I don't think, if there was a kind of joke that we were familiar with about like how Christmas trees might not like being lit up, this might apply, but that isn't something that I think is a joke that goes around. But yeah, I think in that sense the concept is very weak, and I think you'd be better off just kind of leaving this as write this one off. And design-wise, there's obviously a lot of problems as well. It isn't working as a coherent design. The tree looks very amateurish and needs a lot of work. So yeah, I would rethink it and go back to some proven methods and concepts and ways that you can attack, something like a Christmas topic or a Christmas subject in a more coherent way. Okay, a couple of questions here. A couple of comments there. Arthur said you don't need to show the whole keyboard. Yeah, that's a good point on the keyboard one. And Gene, hey Michael, Julie here. I was driving while you reviewed, and I appreciate the input. A square was in reference to nerds who were called squares sometimes. I was going for simple. I'm new to POD and unsure how colors act and print on shirts. I love the idea of a book for the square and a planet for the round. Okay, Gene. So yeah, Gene's previously. It was the square, what was it? Feel like a circle in a square world or square in a circle world. Yeah, I think, Gene, that's good that you've explained where that kind of idea came from. I still think it's all the previous kind of comments still apply. I would still, I don't think that there's people who are searching for like square T-shirts in reference to nerds and stuff like that. So I definitely think it would require revisiting. But thank you for commenting, and hope it helps you. Armin sent this one in. We got about 10 minutes. Let's get through these ones. This one from Armin. So Armin did try to explain this one, but obviously not being a German speaker, this is difficult. Ist das lecker? And I think there's a play on words here, something about eat the delicious or something. He tried to explain it to me, but I'm afraid I can understand how if you don't speak English, then puns in English are very hard to understand. And I can see that now, having tried to tackle this one. All I can say is, because I don't understand the joke, I can really only comment on the design. And I think it's a bit too simple for me to really give much comment on. Assuming this is a funny pun and it references a pizza in some way, then I think there's much better ways you could illustrate this and tie it together. There must be some way to break the text up and have it interacting with the graphic more clearly. But as it stands, it's really very basic and pretty flat and not very engaging. And kind of some of the things we said before about getting emotion into your designs, there isn't really any emotion in this one. There's no real hook or anything in the graphic. So if your pun is especially strong, which I don't really know if it is or not, then great. But even if it is really strong, it's still having to do a lot of work in order to motivate someone to want to buy this on a shirt. So hope that helps you, Armin. Let's take a couple of comments here. Thaddeus said, that had better not be an axe in your hand. So I guess that's reference to the Christmas tree one. So yeah, that makes a little bit more sense, because a Christmas tree would not like to be chopped down, of course. So that's a stronger angle to come at it from than the Christmas lights, I think. So good point there, Thaddeus. Jabba, for the tree one, maybe show a hand trying to put lights on and the tree swiping the hand. Yeah, again, you could do that. Again, I still think the joke itself isn't really strong enough, but that would certainly make it a little bit more engaging. Sue says that's Dutch. Oh, apologize for that Dutch design. I thought it was German. Jean says, thanks, Michael. I love your approach. No problem. Lekker is delicious. Is the Netherlands an Amazon merch market? I don't think it is, but of course we live in a world with many different ways to get designs in front of people, not just Amazon merch. As far as I know, Lekker is Dutch, so a few people are piling in on that one. Okay, cool. Let's get to our next design. This one from Nate. Court is in session. Court is in session, and obviously we have here I think it's a squash-based design. So concept-wise, good, strong. We have a pun. Court, as in squash court, but court, double meaning. Court is in session means you are in a law court. So we've got two different meanings of the word, and therefore a decent pun. Design-wise, could we take that and do more with it? I think we could. I think, you know, for a design like this, because it's referencing a sport, a lot of times people will do a design like this to be worn by, you know, the person taking part in the sport, or, you know, like a lot of fitness t-shirts, you know, they're made to be worn in the gym or something like that. So what's good about this design is the text is big in such a way that it's going to show up pretty sizable on the shirt. But I would be tempted to go, you know, if this was my idea, I would go something more like, let's say this is your canvas. So this is about the dimensions of your shirt, which is usually about right. You could really simplify it, and, you know, because think about this design. Court is in session. The joke is obviously a pun. It's a joke, and you don't need to do a lot graphically to make that joke. You could do something really simple like court is in session, and something as simple as, you know, you could have a squash racket be the O here or something like that. And if you did it like, you know, you make all this text really thick, so it's really a bit like the font you've used in your actual design. It's nice and thick. It stands out clearly. I think that would work, and I would do it at that kind of scale. You know, nice and big, so it's going to show up big on the shirt, so that, you know, when they're wearing it in the court, everyone can see and get the joke, and, you know, it just communicates it very clearly. And you don't have to go down this, you know, overly illustrated thing for this joke, because it's going to be fairly obvious. It's an in joke. You know, it's not something that they're, you know, it has to be explained to people, because people are going to get it. You know, they're going to get the reference straight away. So, you know, even having just a simple squash racket and a ball or something somewhere in there, I think that would work even better. So hope that helps you there, Nate. Ron has this one, food fight. Sorry, let me go back over here. Ron, food fight. Ron says on this one as well, that could be scaled to tennis, badminton. Of course it could. Anything where you have a court. Ramona, will there be a recording of this to view later? I am at work. Yes, Ramona, this should be available on my YouTube channel immediately after it finishes. You'll be able to watch it right away, as with all my live streams, I think. Apart from last week, that was a bit of a different one. But yes, food fight. What can we say about this? Nice concept, and we've got some emotion in the design because we've got some characters who are fighting. One thing, the thing that came to mind here is, of course, it's a nice, simple pun. It's easy to understand. You've gone for the boxing match approach, and of course, there's lots of different ways to illustrate like a fight. But what about, here's one example, and that would be, again, if we imagine our canvas like this, you know, like you have old-fashioned like boxing posters, and they're like vintage boxing posters, and you have like a big You have like one person on this side. Here's the taco. And you have your pizza on this side. No, not smiling, angry. So, and then you have like their names, and you have like a date and stuff, and hopefully you know what I'm talking about. You know, if you look for like a Muhammad Ali versus whoever he fought, there will be like vintage posters like this, or like, you know, like the posters they maybe put up around like local boxing gyms and stuff. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. I think that is just a way to take this concept of food fight, and you can make some multiple jokes out of it. You know, you can give the pizza a funny name. You can give the taco a funny name. You can set it at a particular, the kitchen, or whatever it is, such and such a date. You can just do more with it if you push it like that. So that's how I would kind of push a concept further. You know, you then get this kind of graphic joke as well going on, besides just the basic pun. But of course, yours works as well. This is not an either or. This is a both and, or how to push a concept even further. This looks like a T-shirt. You can see it on a hanger in a store or whatever. It's going to work. Just an alternative way you could have pushed it even further as well. But yeah, nice work. Not a lot wrong with it. Nice design. Blocks colors, not too many colors. Yeah, it's cool. Hopefully, I've just given you another way you could even take it further. A few more to get through, and then I'll take through some of your questions and stuff. If you have a question, then please do ask it now, because we'll have to wrap this up soon. You're So Groovy from... Who is this one from? Ben. You're So Groovy from Ben. So I think, obviously, the kind of pun here is the grooves on a LP record. And I don't think it's really that obvious because of course, groovy meaning music, we have this kind of reference going on. It's almost like a word that, while there is a pun there, that word already means music to a lot of people, if that makes sense. So I don't think it's that strong. It's hard to really get that pun across visually. That what you're referencing is the grooves on an LP rather than groovy meaning music. So because of that, I don't think it's the strongest of concepts. But graphics wise, it's very cute and very nice, reminiscent of David Olenek, very similar style. So that's something that seems to work and does well. But yeah, I think concept wise, I don't think it's really going to catch because of that lack of ease of identifying. I'm making a joke about grooves on a record rather than groovy music. So I hope that helps you there, Ben. Anna sent this one. Sophisticated Witch. And this says Sophisticated Witch, and there's a hand and some occult and witchy type stuff. I think, not knowing too much about the niche or stuff, but it looks like the kind of design that would do well for people who were looking for that kind of thing. There's not really much I can say about it. You've got the illustration style down, it fits. You've used an appropriate font that fits. I think with a design like this, it really just comes down to, if it's going to make sales, then it's because people, like your illustration and they like your phrase. And yeah, I think you've pretty much nailed it as far as the market goes. I can't really, give any particular improvements or something, because not knowing too much about the market, I would say it looks like the kind of thing that would do well. Okay, and lastly, Irina says, stay positive. That's what Irina always says, because she's a positive person. She's a positive person. Stay positive. And obviously we have here a positively charged electron, I'm going to say. Not being much of a scientist, I did get an A in GCSE science, but GCSE double science, I think it was. It was 2 GCSEs. But yeah, stay positive, and we've got a little electron. So obviously a play on words, on the word positive, and I think that's good. Again, it seems to, I know I'm repeating myself, but personally, I would go for a more emotional approach. Can we do an Electron with a smiley face? Can we make him look cute? Can we have him doing a thumbs up? It gives you more to work with there. But this is in line with Irina's style. So that's fine. Irina does have a following. She has people who like and buy her stuff. So they would perhaps identify with her style and appreciate that, this fits and they would like it for that reason. So that's fine. Oh, look here, I got it wrong. It's an ion. Electrons are negative. See, I told you I wasn't much of a scientist. Not much of a brain box after all, Michael. So yeah, stay positive. What was I saying? If we're trying to go for like organic search and people who might be searching for this joke or something like that, like, science jokes or science puns or something like that, I don't think this design would really hit the spot. I think they would probably much prefer to see something that was obviously sciencey and that was obviously, making the joke. And this is a bit more subtle than that. But for Irina's purposes, I think it knowing Irina, I think it does the job nicely. So hope that helps you, Irina. Let's see some of the comments that have come in here while I've been rabbiting on. N said, I think that's Nate. Wouldn't have considered that. Thanks. Okay, no problem, Nate. And Ron says, yeah, I looked at some for reference. That would be stronger graphically to make it look like a poster. Thanks. Font might be hard to read. I think that's on the food fight one. So yeah, font a little bit, maybe with the I, the G, and the T, it's a little bit not. But we're kind of nitpicking, aren't we, really? I think, someone's going to get that. Someone's not going to look at that, was going to buy it, but then they took a second look and looked at the IHET and then they skipped it. It's probably not going to happen. Kay says, hi, Michael. Hi to you. Gail says, how about a splash of orange in the background? I'm not sure which one that was in reference to. Where were we up to there? One of these guys? Maybe the Electron one? Anna says it doesn't make any sales. I think that's sophisticated witch. So yeah, in that case, is that this one? I think, Anna, maybe is yours. Yeah, of course. Just because you've nailed a nice graphic and with a nice text for the particular market doesn't mean that the market's going to necessarily respond to it. In that case, you would maybe want to just kind of keep going after different approaches. It may be that for whatever reason, the phrase doesn't really catch on. They don't really respond to it. They don't like it. I guess that's a good lesson in just because your design is appropriate doesn't mean that it's what people are searching for and what they're gonna buy. So yeah, Imam says positron. Electrons are always so negative. Thank you, Ron, and everyone for pointing out that my science knowledge is less than it should be. Lucy says, love that font. Sue says, science teachers. Yeah, good one. Arthur says, clean up the line work. Yeah, again, it kind of depends on your approach. And Anna says, yes. Okay, cool. So if you got any questions, I'm going to wrap this up in a couple of minutes here. If you got any last minute questions for me before we do, please go ahead and ask them now. I hope that was a helpful session for you. I'll just make myself a bit bigger. We are... How long have we gone? We're gone for an hour and 8 minutes today, so pretty decent innings. If you are looking for, if you're struggling with concepts, if you're struggling with methods, and you're struggling with frameworks, and you're trying to do original stuff, it's not really working, then you need some patterns, you need some frameworks you can use. Then I'm doing a flash sale on the little book of t-shirt ideas, which you can find the link just up there, michaelessick.com/book. This is usually $35.99, but I'm doing a half price sale till tonight. This will end tonight. But if you haven't picked up this book already, I do have a copy here. We have copies in stock ready to mail out, and you do get a little Michael Essick postcard as well that comes with it. But yes, this is a book with 14 different concepts for you to use. These are frameworks you can adapt and use for any niche, any topic, any subject. and 50% off until tonight. You also get some bonuses. You get cool things like the perfect pop culture presentation that I did. You get an idea sorter Airtable base, some live sessions and replays and stuff, all exclusively available when you buy a copy of the Little Book of T-shirt ideas. There it is again. So if you haven't got one of those already, do take advantage of that offer because it will end tonight. Okay. Any questions have come in that I have missed here? Ron says, very helpful. Lucy says, thanks. Angie says, got to run. Thanks for the session. Just bought your book. Going to have a good read of it this weekend. Cool. And Irina says, thanks. Lucy says, bought the book. Cool. Abdusalam says, bought the book. Only the ebook. I can't wait to read. Yes, it is available as an ebook and as the paperback. So whichever one tickles your fancy, you can go for that. Arthur, Michael, do you create other POD products other than shirts? Yes, Arthur. I create lots of different products on Redbubble. So usually I would list my designs on any product that makes sense to do so. So as long as the design isn't, say, specifically for a shirt and it only works on a shirt, then I would list it on every product that I can, on all the sites that I can. My sites are usually merch by Amazon, Redbubble, TeePublic, a couple of others, and on Etsy, I usually just sell T-shirts and sweaters and hoodies. But yeah, hope that answers your question. Ali says, hi to you, Ali. MMC Group, do you have a preferred platform or do you sell on your own site? The answer is all of the above. But in terms of my most profitable platforms, those would be Merch by Amazon, then Etsy, and then Redbubble and TeePublic, usually battling it out there for the next spot. And then there's a whole slew of kind of smaller sites. But yes, Merch by Amazon is still doing very well. Etsy has been a big climber this year. It's done extremely well. It's been building over the months, and it's starting to really pick up now for Q4 as well. So yeah, I do like Etsy quite a lot as well. Melinda says, thank you, no problem. Raymond says, thanks, he needed this. Jennifer says, awesome session, thanks all. And Melinda says, any POD companies you can recommend for USA? If you're asking about print-on-demand fulfillment companies, then I would recommend, I think we're using mostly Printify with Dream Junction, and I would have to check really, but yeah, we're using those quite a lot for things at the moment. I do use Printful quite a bit as well for certain products that we can't get elsewhere. Printful are a bit more expensive, but they are still pretty decent. So yeah, I do have a blog post all about that on my site. If you go to michaelessick.com, scroll down to the bottom, there's a link to best print-on-demand companies, and that will give you a full review and rundown into what we're using. And I do tend to update parts of that monthly, particularly which ones are fastest at the moment. N. Holloway, Nate says, did you start out general and then niche down, or did you search niches until you found one that worked? Both and again, that's the answer I'm going to get. Yeah, I've done it both ways. I think I probably would say I started out with a lot more general designs, and then I kind of found certain niches that I really did well with, and then I kind of doubled down on those, kind of a bit like what I said in my email this week. So yeah, that kind of works for me. If you find that there's a certain niche that sells well, then of course it makes sense to go after it. So that's what I've done, and then I've kind of built mini brands around those kind of niches and stuff that did well for me. So yeah, hope that helps. Maximus, Fab, Michael, and Arthur says, I seem to spend a lot of time, I think, modifying a design for different products, working on that less. Yeah, I would do a design and then I would upload it to all products. I would very rarely have to modify a design to have it work on different products. The only kind of big ones there are like maybe mugs on Redbubble, where you want to have the design on both sides, or stickers on Redbubble, because sometimes you need to give it a background and stuff. But yeah, I try to keep things simple and just do one design and then whack it everywhere. But it depends where you're at and what your kind of strategy is. So yeah, All right, guys, thank you for joining me today. I think we'll wrap it up there. Do go to michaelessick.com/book if you haven't already. That link will expire tonight, and you won't be able to get the book for half price after midnight tonight, Eastern Standard Time. Do join me next week. We'll be doing a live stream on something. Make sure you're signed up at michaelessick.com to get my emails if you're not already. Do like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this session, and keep an eye out for next week when we might do a design session. We might do something else. Who knows? We'll see. But I will be sending a roundup email out tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that as well. And yeah, I'll leave it there for today. So thanks for joining me. Have a great rest of your Thursday, wherever you are, and I'll see you all soon, probably next week, almost certainly next week, but hopefully in your inboxes as well sooner. All right, thank you guys. I'll see you all